After almost a year in office, Donald Trump finally had Republicans dancing to his tune.
It's the largest tax cut in the history of our country, and reform, but tax cut.
The centrepiece of this $1.5 trillion tax overhaul is slashing the corporate rate from 35 to 21%.
Cut that statutory rate. It will encourage companies to cheat less, to avoid the income tax less, but also to build more factories and hire more workers in America.
The business tax cuts are permanent, but those for individual taxpayers, temporary. Democrats savaged the reforms, forecasting hikes on the horizon for the middle class. Christy Moret doesn't know what to make of Trump's tax plan. She describes herself as an average American who, despite having a good job, still lives paycheck to paycheck.
It may throw an extra, I don't know, a couple $100 in my pocket or something, but that to me is very irrelevant. I don't really want a couple extra $100. I'm much more concerned about both the mid and the long-term effects.
The US Treasury predicts the bill will boost economic growth by 2.9% annually over the next decade, which would bring in $1.8 trillion in new revenue. Most independent forecasts are far less generous. Trump knows people like tax cuts, and he's convinced that US money and jobs are going to pour back into the United States. But the fact remains that this package is deeply unpopular. It's a perception Republicans hope to change while also taking some political momentum into 2018.
They're going to have to come back with more things, make the adjustments to Obamacare. They're going to have to do something about the infrastructure. They're going to have to demonstrate that they can actually play nicely together.
Trump's tax code officially kicks in on New Year's Day, but most experts say Americans won't feel the true effects until at least 2019. Kevin McAleese, TRT World, Washington.
And TRT World's editor-at-large, Craig Copetas, joins me now from Paris. Craig, Happy New Year. Explain the US tax overhaul package to a global audience, if you could.
Okay, so you got a rich guy, a middle-class guy, and a poor guy, and they walk into the Treasury Department, and there's a tray of cupcakes, 20 cupcakes. The rich guy takes 19 of them, looks to the middle-class guy and says, see that poor guy over there? He's going to take your cupcake. That's what this tax bill is all about. It's about a lot of good cupcakes for the rich people and a lot of crumbs for the poor people. That's how this thing is actually working. It's going to have some long-term effects. But may I tell you my favorite? May I
Please
through this?
Do.
You know, there's
Please
thousands
do.
of pages in this tax bill. All right, this is supposed to benefit U.S. citizens living in America. Okay, these tax cuts are going to primarily benefit foreigners who own stock in U.S. companies. They're going to get back every year about $70 billion in savings. Now, in contrast, those middle-income households that this bill is supposed to be helping are only going to get back $23 billion in savings, according to every study that's been done here. So as you go down the list, you see this long-term benefiting corporations, short-term benefiting individuals, the people who need the tax relief.
Craig, now the GOP, the Republican Party, also are planning other overhauls on government spending, aren't they, this year? What sort of things could we expect?
Well, Trump does not like so-called giveaway programs like food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid. He might say he likes them, but he really doesn't. So you're going to see slashes in that, in those programs and a lot of other entitlement programs that will save the government money and allow him to hand out more money in tax savings. What you got to understand here, though, is there's really nothing Machiavellian about this. This is the work of a bumbling Sancho Panza who believes that the solution to every problem is to put money in someone's pocket. And, of course, it is to a great extent. But what happens when that money runs out? And this money will run out, and I think you're going to be seeing it run out and problems from this tax bill starting to happen after the 2018 midterm elections in the United States.
Craig Copetas in Paris, thank you so much.